Okay. Oops. Greetings. Welcome, everyone. We are broadcasting. We are online. Okay. Nice. Welcome to Saturday Sanga on June 22nd. June 22nd, 2024. Yesterday was the longest day of the year, so to say. Yeah, that's something. And today is no longer the longest day of the year. That's something also. Okay, we are broadcasting, or not so broadcasting, from Sadhanasrama, from downstairs instead of upstairs. Therefore, background is a little different. And we can begin. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaisvanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganam Raghunatam Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanditangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Sometimes this microphone works and sometimes it doesn't. Why it doesn't work when it doesn't work is a great mystery, or a not so great mystery, or it's a puzzle, or it's a problem. Tarani Saki just came with something. Hare Krishna, welcome, welcome. Uh-oh. 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 Shri Panchatattva Lyubhyana ki jai, jai, jai. Jai, 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 jai. 5 times. Okay, so let's see. That microphone we can forget about today. And let's see about our video. Yes, the video is... All right. So, as we usually do, we'll read through and then sing one of Narottama Thakura's songs. And we'll read a little of Mother Sitala's biography of Srila Narottama Thakur. Then we'll have some show and tell, or just tell, or just show. I will welcome. Please make yourselves comfortable. We have all facility for comfort. Yes, we have asanas of various sorts. We also have more space in this room, so you don't have to feel like you're a marginalized person or something. Yes.
It's recording in progress.
Do you want to come in here? I mean, you're welcome to stay there. It's up to you completely. There's a little danger if you sit there that you will get a rain of tulsi leaves on your head. Mercy, tulsi mercy. Shri Tulasi Maharani. It's my new song. Okay. Where were we? Yes, and then we can do some reading. And yeah, I have a couple of new books from different devotees to show and tell. And we can read a bit of Chaitanya Charitamrita. All right, so then we go to our song of the week. I don't know where I put last week's song, so we'll just proceed with this week's song, which is also quite well known amongst the devotees. Jai Anilo prema-dhana, Koruna pracur. This is song number 1 of Parsada Bhagavad Viraha, Janita, Vilapa. So let's see, we can analyze this a little bit. Vilapa is lamentation, I would say. And Janita means born from or generated from. So Vilapa is sadness, lamentation generated from, out of the Viraha, the separation, the absence of Swaparshada Bhagavad, of the devotees who are Swaparshada, who are his own associates. Okay, it's a song that we typically sing on the occasion of the disappearance, the departure of devotees. And so, I don't know, whenever I sing it, I tend to get a little bit emotional. But it's a very, because it's a very emotional song. And we can, I think, imagine that Narottama composing this song is feeling intense emotion of separation and sadness because he is longing for, he's feeling the separation of the devotees that he is referring to in the song. So it begins, Jai Anilo prema-dhana, Koruna pracur, heno prabhu, eka-kāle, ācārya-t. Thakura. He who brought the treasure of divine love, prema-dhana, and who was filled with compassion, Koruna pracur. Pracur means pracurya, pracurja, means wealth, opulence, maybe even excess, a lot of something. So Karuna Pracura, filled with compassion and mercy. And Anilo is the past tense. He brought Anilo. And J is the relative pronoun, who. Heno, Prabhu Kotagela Acharya Thakur. Where has such a personality as Advaita Acarya gone? So the translation assumes that Acharya refers to Advaita Acharya, which is very possible. And the question word in this verse is kota, kotai, where kotai holo, where did it happen? But it's going to be kaha in 3 lines of the verse of the song, and again in verse 3, second part, kota. Heno Prabhu, such a Prabhu, kota, where? Gela has gone. Ācārya-t, where has he gone? So this is going to be the refrain, sort of, this question, where? Many of the songs we've had, the question is when. When is the, when am I going to attain the shelter of the Lord? Kobe. But here it's kaha or kota, kotai. Okay, then he starts to name other devotees, feeling the absence from them. Kaha, more, sharup, rupa, kaha, shonatan, kaha, dasa, raghunata, patita-pāvan. Where are my Sharup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? I'm a little bit guessing, but I think patita-pāvan could be applied to all of the names given. And Raghunath is savior of the fallen, but so is also Swarup and Rupa and Sanatan and all the others who are mentioned. But otherwise, it's all very simple. And we have the word mora instead of amar. Mora is the more elegant, I think it's from Maithili, my, possessive of me. Instead of amar, it's more. Kaha mor bhatta jugo, kaha kaviraj, eka-kāle, kota gela, gora nataraj. Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? So it's made sort of compact by saying Bhatta Juga. Juga means two, or the pair of Bhattas. So Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta. Bhatta was or is some category of Brahmins. As I understand, they were typical, they were ritual Brahmins. But that's all I know. In any case, they're a class of Brahmins. So Raghunath Bhatta, who is a little mysterious. We don't know much about Raghunath Bhatta. There's not much told about him. There's a temple in Vrindavan. It's near the Banke Bihari temple. And it's even closer to the Radha Vallabha temple, which is a very interesting temple. It's just across the street from the Radha Vallabha main entrance is a small temple, and I don't remember the name of the temple, but it's apparently it's associated with Raghunath Bhatta. And I think they say Raghunath Bhatta came from Andhra Pradesh, similar to Vilapa Acharya. And what else do we know? Raghunath Bhatta was reciting the Bhagavatam in many different ways. Anyway, Bhatta Juga Kaha Kaviraj. Where is the Kaviraj? The word Kaviraj nowadays can also refer to an Ayurvedic doctor. But here it means Kavi Raja. The Kavi is a poet, and Raja, king of poets. eka-kāle, all at once, at one time. Kota gela, where did Gora Nataraj go? Gora is often spelled, instead of Gaura, it's spelled Gora, which I don't know why that's how it is. And Nata means dance. Nata. And Raja means king, the king of dancers. And that's interesting because usually people, if you say Nataraj, they mean, yes, Lord Shiva. Because there's a very famous murti of Shiva where he's standing on one leg on top of this little demon. And he's doing a special kind of dance of destruction, destroying the universe. And there's a ring of fire around him. And he is playing his, what is it called, drum? Damaru. Yeah. But here it's Gora Nataraj, the real king of dancers. What was that? I just saw yesterday some little video clip of devotees in England doing a kirtan retreat. some kirtan thing. I'm guessing it was in Leicester. The room looked like the Leicester temple. And the devotee was explaining to the audience that Thakura, the saint from Maharashtra from the 17th century or 18th, said that if you chant the holy name while you are lying down, the Lord will sit next to you. If you chant the holy name while sitting, the Lord will stand next to you. If you chant while standing, Haribo, welcome, welcome. We have also chairs. There's 2 chairs right there if anyone wants. And Madhyana Lila and relatives have come.
I call them Adam's family.
Adam's family. You know that TV show in America. Okay. So if you stand and chant the holy name, the Lord will dance. And if you dance and chant the holy name, the Lord will embrace you. Sounds good, huh? In this little video, it showed the devotees heard that and they were so inspired, they immediately all stood up and started dancing. So, kaha mor bhatta juga kaha koviraj, eka-kāle gota gela Koruna-ācārya-t. Then number 4, pashane utibo mata onole poshibo goranga gunera nidhi kota kele pabo. I will smash my head against the rock. So kutibo apparently means I will smash, I will throw. And pashane means on the rock. Mata means the head. So pashane kutibo mata. Anale poshibo. I will enter into fire. Anale means in the fire. Poshibo, I will, I don't know, enter. And then goranga guner nidhi. That's easy. Goranga, who is an ocean nidhi of qualities, guner, or virtues. Kota gele pabo. Well, where will I find him? Kota is again kotai, where? And gele seems like the way it's translated, where will I go? Where might I go? I think it's kind of the potential form. Pabo, will I get, will I gain? Where do I go to find Lord Chaitanya, who is an ocean of qualities? And the last line, se-saba shangir shange, je koilo bilas, se-sańga na paya kande Narottama Das. Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama simply weeps. So, se-saba Sanga, in the Sanga of the Sanga of them all, in the association of the associates of them all, of these all, se-saba, J. Koilo Vilas, who made Koilo Bilas, which is translated here as pastimes. I looked up the word Vilasa. Let's see if I have it here. Sorry. Yeah, Vilasa. To enjoy, to sport, to exist, or to be present gracefully. I like that. To be present gracefully. So the devotees who were being present gracefully with the Lord, something like that. And it comes to mean koila bilas, doing pastimes. Se-sańga, napaya, if I don't get their association, or not getting their association, not obtaining. Paya would be a gerund. So having not gotten their association or not getting it, kande, I cry. Narottama cries. Simply weeps. Okay. So it's a very sad song. Spiritually sad. Let's try it, shall we? We have a mridanga back here behind Divya Darshini, and we have noisemakers here.
Guru Maharaj, sound, please, if you can turn off the sound.
Sound. Okay. We're having a big debate here. Who's going to play the mridanga? Everyone's being very humble. Madhyana Lila. What about Madhyana Lila? You forgot. Let's see what happens. Jai Anilo prema-dhana Koruna pracur Jai Anilo Koruna pracur heno Prabhu Kotagela ācārya-t Thakura Prabhu Gela ācārya-t Kahamora Swarup Rupa Kaha Shanata Kahamora Swarup Rupa Dasa Raghunatha patita-pāvan Dasa a-juga Viraha eka-kāle kota gela Korunata eka-kāle kota gela ashane kutibo mata Anile pasibo Goranga gunera nidhi kota gela pabo I skipped verse 2, didn't I? Verse 2. Kahamora Swarupa Shonata Kahamora Swarupa Rupa Sanata Kahadasa Raghunatha patita-pāvan Dasa Raghunatha se-saba sangira eka-kāle se-saba sangira eka-kāle se-sańga na paiga kande Narottama se-sańga na paiga kande Narottama Anilo prema-dhana Koruna pracur Anilo prema-dhana Koruna pracur heno Prabhu kota gela ācārya-t Thakura Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare We have a new potential Madunga player. It's just a matter of time. Only time separates us. Yeah. Okay, music off. Welcome again to all of you who are joining us just in the last few minutes. Welcome from Sadhanasrama in the wild country of Slovenia. Well, yeah, what means wild? That's an interesting question. Okay, we are continuing with the pastimes of Narottama Thakur. Since we're singing his songs, we want to know who is the composer. Of course, there were many composers of devotional songs, starting especially around the 16th century in India. Actually, we can go back earlier to the Alvars. The Alvars, these poets of South India. Oh, I was going to say there's water here, and there are some cups. So whoever wants water, there's water. But it's a very big container, so good luck pouring it. Yes, no? Maybe make available. You can put some cups on the floor, put the water. Maybe, huh?
We have water.
Yes, but maybe later you're going to want. So, Margatita, why don't you take and just put here and put some cups on the floor. Floor. Yeah. Okay. Making sure nobody dries out. Actually, it's interesting. Here's a bit of a curious point, perhaps. In the Yoga Yajnavalkya, Yoga Yajnavalkya is a text on yoga from the 16th century. No, from the 15th century, sorry. And it's describing Ashtanga Yoga, and it describes yama and niyama. And within yama, it lists not 5 features, but 10 features. And similarly, niyama has not 5, but 10 features. And common to the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, one of the niyamas is tapas. What does tapas mean? Huh? Tapas means tapas. Huh? Austerity, we usually translate, yes. You have, what's your word for heat in Slovenia? Vročina? Vročina. Vročina. Okay. But you have a lot of places where there's hot springs, and those are called toplica or something, right? So this to, I think, is topli? Toplo is warm. Okay. So there's apparently a linguistic connection to Sanskrit tapa. In any case, according to the Yoga Yajnavalkya, austerity, the best of all best austerities, is drying out the body. Sharira Shoshan. So if you want to, no, you don't want to. It's also not good for the kidneys. But anyway, yeah, Nirjala Ekadashi, maybe some of you did Nirjal. I did not. I am completely unreserved in confessing I did not do Nirjal Ekadashi.
I do it. I
You
did.
did? Who did?
Danakili.
Danagiri, good for you.
Yes. And my chant, my first
But-
64 rounds.
Whoa. Congratulations. But it's not good for your kidneys. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm just quoting Radharadya Prabhu. medical.
Okay.
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 Aside from that, I thought it's interesting that this text says Sharira Soshana is Parama Tapa or something like that. All right, you can tell your neighbors. Okay, Narottama continues. Narottama Das Thakura, at this time still a young man, or a boy. We don't know how old he is. He's left home. He's gone to Vrindavan. He's met Lokanath Goswami, whom he understands from a dream in which, was it Rupa Goswami or Gauranga Mahaprabhu, informs him, your guru is Lokanath Goswami. So he meets Lokanath. Lokanath says, I don't do disciples. And Narottama is devastated. He's doesn't know what to do, and Lokanath says, well, in any case, the proper system is that one waits for 1 year and chants the holy name. And so he does. But he starts to get impatient, and he's thinking, I need to do something more to make sure that he's going to accept me. And then he understands, seva, tatvidhi, pranipatena, pariprashnena. 1, 2, 3, everyone together. Sevaya, yes. So by seva. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshana, the tattva darshis, they will enlighten you if you offer them obeisance, ask them questions, and serve them. So he wants to do service, but what to do for a sadhu like Lokanath, who, what does he do? He doesn't do anything. He sits and he chants all day long. I'm smelling cows.
The wild Slovenia.
Yeah, the wild Slovenia. Yeah. Huh?
This is country.
We're in the country. That's right. Yeah, I guess they're spreading on the fields next to us today. And the wind is blowing this way. Yeah, so then he gets, was it Jiva Goswami gives him a tip. He says, you could clean the place where he goes to the bathroom. So he starts, so now he's going to do that. He swept the area after, he sneaks in there and he sweeps the area after Lokanath has been there in the early morning. And he slips away to his ashram. Okay, early in the morning, Narottama picked up his broom and went to perform his usual service near Lokanath's kunja. As he began to sweep, a voice called out from the darkness, "Who is there?" Clutching his broom tightly to his chest, Narottama froze like a thief caught stealing. Squinting into the darkness, he saw the faint outline of Lokanath Goswami visible through the trees. A shudder of fear ran through Narottama's body. What if he's angry with me? I've been doing this service to get his blessings, but if he becomes upset, I will receive his curse instead. So there's I would say, quite deep tradition in India that sadhus are a source of inspiration and also a cause for fear. You welcome the sadhu hoping they will bless you, bless your home, and you fear at least as much as you look forward to them blessing, that much also you fear that they're going to curse you because of who knows what. You don't know. It could be anything. So Narottama is worried. Maybe he's going to curse me instead of blessing. Finally, he says, "It's Narottama, your servant." Narottama, you? Lokanath was clearly upset. Then he comes out of the undergrowth, and Lokanath Goswami shakes his head. "I knew someone had been secretly cleaning up after me for many months. It's not proper to allow someone to serve me in this way. I cannot tolerate it any longer. Come here." So Narottama stood before his master, cringing, speechless. "How could you do this? I'm ashamed to accept such service. You, the son of a king, doing such menial service. I cannot allow it. I'm living in this kunja and practicing detachment. Now, here you are, a prince, cleaning up after me. Why are you trying to spoil my renunciation?" Narottama's head is down, and he says, "Gurudev, please do not deny me the chance to serve you. After many lifetimes, I finally have the opportunity to serve a great soul like you. Becoming your humble sweeper is a far more exalted position than ruling over any mundane kingdom. You are the Lord of my life. I simply want to perform some Guru Seva." "Guru Seva?" Lokanath says. "Who is the Guru? I haven't made any disciples, and I have taken a vow never to accept disciples. If you're looking for a Guru, you must find someone else." Narottama humbly insists, "Prabhu, I've already surrendered my mind and body to you. How can I offer to someone else what no longer belongs to me? If you will not give me your mercy, I will die. That is all I know. Please see my lowly condition and be merciful to me." Then Lokanath says, "Narottama, Lord Chaitanya is inside you. You have already developed pure love of God. What do you expect to achieve through initiation? You have already attained the ultimate purpose of practicing devotional service. What do you want me to give you? You asked me to deliver you, but what is it you want me to deliver you from? I do not see any bondage in you." Yeah, it's a good question, actually. What do you want me to do? How can I? Narottama fell at Lokanath's feet, crying, "Gurudev, I am like a young woman who has already chosen her husband. My heart is clear and without doubt. A young woman who makes up her mind in this way prays that her father will agree with her choice. So I pray that our Father, Sri Krishna, agrees with my choice." Now Lokanath's eyes soften and his tone becomes gentle. Narottama, don't speak like this. I know you are an extremely qualified devotee. I am very attracted by your devotion. However, because of I cannot accept you. Please don't say anything more about it. Narottama is not giving up. But Gurudev, Lokanath, shakes his head and he turns and he walks back to his kunja and he repeats, speaking over his shoulder, he says, there is no point in serving me. I don't want your service, nor do I want to be anyone's master. Period. Narottama is finished. He sat in silence for some time, trying to make sense of it all. Tears rolled down his cheeks as he contemplated life without the mercy of the Lord's pure devotee. So the morning sun is coming up, and Narottama starts to try to accept the fact that Lokanath might never accept him as his disciple. And then he gradually gets up and goes to his ashram with a heavy heart. Next morning, he approaches Lokanath Goswami's kunja and he's surprised to see his guru, he takes as his guru Lokanath, sitting near the entrance of the bower. He was even more surprised when that saintly person called him over in a mild voice. Narottama's heart beats rapidly. He sits at his master's feet. He keeps his eyes on Lokanath's feet. He dares not speak. After a few moments of silence, he shyly peers up at Lokanath's thin, radiant face. What magnetism, what wisdom the sage's face seemed to embody. All the attractive qualities of devotion: purity, truth, gentleness, and forgiveness. Lokanath Goswami was gazing back at Narottama with warm, clear eyes that penetrated deep into Narottama's heart, touching the core of his being. Narottama, he said, your fierce determination has conquered me. I didn't want to accept service from anyone, but you have melted my heart, forcing me to break my vow. I will accept you as my disciple. Narottama's heart soars. He fell at his spiritual master's feet and cried with joy. Srila Narottama Das Thakura ki, Srila Lokanath Goswami ki. Hare Krishna. He did it because he was so insistent. He didn't give up. Now this style of writing, whoops, it's not what I wanted. Reminds me of something I just received, and I'll share with you very briefly. My godbrother Yogeshwar Prabhu, who lives in New York, has written a book called Golden Avatar. It's about Lord Chaitanya, and he's a very seasoned writer. He's written several books on Mainly, one of his main topics is the Holocaust. He researches about survivors of the concentration camps and so on. And he's produced books and also documentaries, films. But he decided sometime recently he needs to write a book about Lord Chaitanya. But his writing style, he wants to reach a wide audience. And he's very expert. And so he's written it in a style which I think is very similar to Sitala Devi's writing about Narottama. So he's embellishing, so to say, what we read from Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavata. He adds something to help one kind of feel how things go. He's a digital copy of his book asking for my comments. I can't share it with anyone. The book is not published yet. But I felt very honored. He's asking me for my comments, but I think he won't mind if I read a couple of paragraphs. Would you like to hear? Okay. So he's describing his childhood, Nimai's childhood. And he says, as endearing as Nimai's escapades may have been, his adventures, Jagannath and Shachi, father and mother, did not neglect their first child, Vishvarup, who was in his teens and marriageable. Vishvarup knew his parents' intentions. Marriage was a constant topic at family meals. But if they thought that promises of a beautiful bride and a fashionable wedding were sufficient to induce him to marry, they had sorely miscalculated. Vishvarup had his heart set on the open road traversed by monks. To prepare for this clandestine future, at dawn, after bathing in the Ganges, he visited the house of Advaita for lessons in the Bhagavatam. Vishvarup had no illusions about the life of a wandering celibate. He was bright and clear-headed and knew enlightenment did not require monastic isolation. If pursued with generosity of spirit, even a worldly life constrained by family and career could be a vehicle for liberation from the cycle of birth and death. But staying home would slow things down, and the one shortcoming of his otherwise impeccable character, means perfect character, the one shortcoming of his otherwise impeccable character was impatience. He wanted enlightenment now, truth now, God now, not at the end of life after duties were fulfilled and children grown. So he's been creative. So much of what he writes here you don't find in any of the biographies, the traditional biographies, having discussions at the, during meals, family meals about marriage. There's no mention of that. But it's very probable that that would be the subject, right? So he's kind of filling in, and he's quite cleverly, I think, anticipating a doubt of his readers, because he's wants to as wide an audience as possible. And his readers are going to be thinking, what is this about this renunciation? What, what does this have to be? So he's saying that Vishvarup, he was a little impatient. Okay, there is possibility of spiritual perfection without becoming a monk, but still, he was impatient. So this was how he was. So like that, he's introducing what's going to happen, presumably in this chapter, is Vishvarupa is going to leave. And that will in some ways also set the scene for Mahaprabhu to take sannyas. Right. Okay. Let's close that and let's go back here. Oops, that's not. Let's go there. All right. Hare Krishna. So, greetings, everyone. Vrajali Lavati, you wanted to tell us about your great yagya you've been performing
for years.
Time now.
Yes, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Yes, I want to share something. It's been cooking for a long time, as you said, and it was a yagya because it was not easy. I don't know why. It is a book which will be published, I hope, in the fall or early winter. And it is a book which is based on my doctoral dissertation from 2013. As some of you know, I write and teach about history. The book I wanted to say about is about a virus, to say something is about a virus from a previous century, Spanish flu of 1918 to 1919. This book is about a disease. And recently I realized that my other papers are about mortality, so death, and old age, since I wrote about the diagnosis of the elderly during World War I. So altogether, I write about death, disease, and old age. This I realized with the help of you, Gurudeva.
Nice, pleasant topics, but that's the reality, right?
Yes. Only papers that are missing are papers about birth, but that will be no problem to write about because there were many miseries connected to birthing in the past. So with the help of Gurudeva, I realized that writing and discussing these themes is also service to Krishna. Since Srila Prabhupada, in commentary on the verse 9, chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, writes that, quote, I'm quoting him, unless we have a pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distress of birth, death, old age, and disease, there is no impetus for our making advancement in spiritual life. He also states that birth and death should be discussed. And as far as disease and old age are concerned, everyone gets practical experience. So the book is called Urban Anatomy of a Pandemic, Spanish Flu, 1918, 1919 in Poland. In the introduction of the book, I write how Spanish flu is called the mother of all pandemic because of its high mortality. The estimates are 50 to 100 million people died from it, mostly young adults. Then I state how many people died from other diseases in the 20th century and how epidemiological transition influenced the causes of death in the 20th century. There in the footnote, I downplayed the significance of illnesses as the causes of death, stating that while talking about the causes of death of the world population, one other popular statistic of recent times, 2016, cannot be avoided here, namely of all animals, and in the second place after mosquitoes that transmit various diseases, and ahead of snakes, scorpions, and other threatening animals, human has caused the most global deaths to a human, with the assumption of 475,000 deaths per year. Mosquitoes take 1 million human lives per year, and on the third place, there are snakes with 50,000 people. So wars with various interests and other violence of human against human are in a parallel race with diseases in the sense of destroying a human on the tape of time. Book is divided in 16 chapters.
Wait.
Yes.
Good if you a little bit slow down for our translators.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And also, what was the number, the average of deaths to humans caused by humans?
475,000 deaths per year.
So nearly 500,000.
Yes. So with wars. Yes, this is our violent side in human.
So all of those are from wars.
Or human against human in some private violence.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. This was from the source. I didn't have the ability to count and research it.
Yes.
So book is divided in 16 chapters. In first 6, I'm telling about Spanish flu in general, outbreak in military camp in Haskell in Kansas, USA, how it was spread with military ships from Boston to France, to place soldiers on the Western Front, then about 3 waves, and how the second, from September to December, was the deadliest. I mentioned that in Alaskan village, Breivik Mission, out of 80 people who lived there, 72 of them died from the flu. 1 man passing through infected them. They
Where?
didn't have in Alaska.
Oh, so far away from everything. Wow.
Yes, just 1 man infected them, and they didn't have any immunity from previous illnesses, and that's why the mortality was so high. And because it was so cold, not many diseases entered the Alaska.
Yeah.
Then I am explaining the circumstances in the northern, in the southern Istria. I write about the occurrence of the Spanish flu in Pula. Sources are parish register of the deceased and hospital register of the civilian hospital in Pula. And by all the information I get from these sources, I can conclude something. On the example of Pula, flu showed its usual character. Peak was in October, as in the rest of the Europe. Mostly young adults succumbed to that. Interesting finding is that the ones who stayed in hospital more than 7 days, so they received hospital care, meals, warmth of the room, and aspirin, in high percentage survived the flu. So it was really about taking the absence of leave. On the example of Pula. Then I write about the flu in the press. There was not many articles about the flu in Pula. Articles about the war at the end of the war had overtaken the media space. However, there are few articles about medicines that should be taken, and the recommendations were, to say at least, dangerous. One of the medicine which was recommended was calomel, and it is a form of a mercury. So one could die just taking
just taking
much. Yes. After the flu, nobody wrote about the pandemic. Some historians called it the collective forgetfulness, or the mentality of forgetfulness, which happens after the pandemics and epidemics in the past also. Then I write about the Spanish flu in the streets of Pula to see whether the mortality was socially conditioned. To some extent, it could be proven for Pula. The flu with its mortality appeared more in the city neighborhoods with lower social status, and the factors which I used for comparison are housing, hygiene factor, and economical standard. Economical standard was maybe the most important because it would show if one has the ability to take the leave of absence or has to work while ill. And this was mortality. That nobody should go and work while ill.
Mhm.
Yes. Then I write about some aspects of comprehension of the new disease, as nowadays when the COVID appeared. Then also were some theories alive about the illness, like some social groups were culprits for the spread of the new virus. In New York, Italians
Conspiracy.
were guilty for the flu.
Who?
Italians.
Oh, the Italians.
The Italians.
Therefore, is that why it's called Spanish flu?
No, Spanish flu is called because Spanish was neutral in World War I, and it had all the news about the new illness in the press. And then the elite side could not, because they were censored, they could not write about the new disease. And it was just convenient to say that the illness appeared in Spain. So
Oh.
everybody said it was from Spain. Because of the morale of the war, they should not be saying that the new disease appeared at any of the elite sides. But,
Right. But
there were many deaths on both sides.
it came from Kansas, you said,
Yes.
originally? From
Yes.
pigs in Kansas.
Military camp Funston. In a military camp, yes.
Oh, not from pigs. How come I thought from pigs? Okay.
One theory is that the first patient was a cook, and a cook had to deal maybe with pigs and some other animals.
So it could have been zoogenic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody knows for sure still. And the comprehension was like Italians were guilty about the new disease in New York, and in the whole America, Germans were guilty one because they put the flu in the aspirin, which was distributed.
Okay.
And because America went on the war against Germans on the Western Front.
And
So,
it was the Germans who were producing aspirin, Bayer aspirin. Huh?
yes. And even when they say that the licensed factory of aspirin is in New York Station and all ingredients are from America, people didn't believe it. So they didn't take aspirin for a while.
So, okay. So a lot of people had headaches, and because they had headaches, they were having short tempers, and they were blaming that on the Germans. Okay.
So there also anti-science came alive as an alternative, strengthening the influence of marginalized opponents of the mainstream medicine, who were eager for their 5 minutes of fame. I even connect this to totalitarian system, since 3 characteristics of the totalitarianisms are here. One is cult of personality. People believed the person who was talking against the mainstream medicine. Then there is the new ideology, was promising to give better results than the mainstream medicine, and also division of the world on us and them. And when
it's the same thing as was coming during the COVID pandemic, right?
yes,
All of these features were kind of coming forwards
yes.
in relation to,
Then on the end, I argument the path of the flow in Istria from south to north, because I take into consideration some Istrian villages. And then I conclude about the features of the flow on the example of Pola. So it's 177 pages.
okay. And you have a Croatian academic publisher?
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
it's all lined up for you
Yes.
already?
Yes, Srednja Europa, like Middle Europa from Zagreb, will publish it, and also University from Pula will give some influence. Also, it has to be written on the book, on the cover of the book.
Good.
So,
So this is going to be your first book. What's going to be
yes,
your second book?
I think about wars. To see
Wars,
the-
yes.
because
Okay.
war is not nature, is not
Ah.
nature to human. So I would like to explore how people succumbed to mental illnesses during war because they couldn't handle the war.
That can be interesting. Very good, very good. Okay.
Thank you.
So there's plenty of work for historians because there's a lot of dark history in the world, right?
Yes, mainly all history is very dark.
It's dark, yeah.
Yes, so many wars.
If it would be bright, no one would bother to write history. What can you write about? It's another bright day.
Yes. We had one conference in Pula University about peace. So we usually have 60 to 70 people coming, and now only 18 people came to the conference because peace is boring.
Too boring. Yeah, yeah.
And human nature is not so bright. So history is full of human nature writings.
Yes. All right. Well, all the best for publishing and getting it read and for continuing writing about dark things.
Thank you. I consider it as my service, and thank you for your help.
Yeah.
Gurudeva.
Yeah, it's good. Krishna says, what does Krishna say in the Gita? He says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Dosha Anudarshanam. The Anudarshana, the sort of continuous seeing, literally, or the of the misery of Janma, Mritu, birth, death, Jara, old age, and disease, Janma, Mritu, Jara, Vyadhi, is, what is it? It's one of the components, you could say, of jnana, of knowledge, in the 13th chapter of the Gita. Indriyarteshu vairagyam, what is it? Anahankaram? No. Indriyarteshu vairagyam. I should know this. Come on. I'm going to look at it. Indriyarteshu vairagyam. Yeah, anahankara evacha. Janma mritu jara vyadhi dukkha doksha. Verse number 9, chapter 13.
Yes.
Good. It's all for the mission. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rajali Lavati. So now I have a couple of new books to show. First, we have this huge volume. That's how thick it is. And it has 1,000, including extra stuff at the end, 1,298, no, 3,000, and 1,300 pages. The Jolly Swami, the wit and wisdom from Sridhar Swami. So this is a collection of things that Sridhar Maharaj spoke about in his talks, in his lectures, and his seminars. So it's a very nice, I would say, it can be like a reference book. It's on, I don't know how many topics are listed. And my guess is 30, 60, 90, 100, at least 120 topics. Starting with absolute truth. It's all in alphabetical order. Absolute truth, advancement, advertisements, anger, anxiety, and so on. And at the end, we have virtual reality, vision, vows, work, worship, and yoga. But I found something on the subject of serving devotees I thought to share. So Sridhar Maharaj is telling, Srila Prabhupada asked a disciple, quote, "What is the qualification to become Krishna conscious?" The disciple answered, sincerity. Srila Prabhupada answered, no. Sincerity and intelligence. So, Sridhar Maharaj continues, so use your good intelligence. Become enthusiastic. Don't waste time. Hear the instructions of Krishna's pure devotee. Become a servant. Here's another entrance on the same subject, serving devotees. People are our main asset. You know what asset? An asset is something you possess which has value. People are our main asset. There is no project so important as serving those who, in different ways, have dedicated their lives to Srila Prabhupada, or who are ready to return to that path. So he's saying the priority is taking care of people, of devotees, and he includes those who are ready to return to the path. In other words, some may have taken up spiritual life, bhakti yoga, Krishna consciousness. After some time, they kind of let it go. And but after some time, they maybe take it up again. So they should be cared for. You want to hear another comment on serving devotees? Please try to serve the devotees and understand that I am pleased when my disciples are known as nice servants of the servants of Krishna. Really, it gives me pride and pleasure. Try to render service to even ordinary or simple devotees. And when senior preachers come, try to do some service for them and get their blessings. Don't be shy in this regard. Don't be shy when you see devotees. Don't be shy to show readiness to give service. Okay, so the Jolly Swami, Wit and Wisdom from Sridhar Swami, is now available, all 1,300 pages. And one more book. Dancing White. The traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India, August 1970 to March 1972 by Giriraj Swami. So this is, we could say, an eyewitness report, memories of Giriraj Swami when he was traveling with Srila Prabhupada. At that time, he was brahmachari. It's, as we say in English, it's a page turner. You really want to know what happened then, what happened then. It's a very nice book. We were just reading this morning. I'll just summarize, I think, rather than read, that the devotees had been in Amritsar for a few days with Prabhupada. Amritsar is north of Delhi. And they were coming by train. They were going back to Mumbai, Bombay at that time. And they had a stop in Delhi. And in Delhi, one man who Srila Prabhupada knew met them at the station. His name was D.D. Gupta, whatever the D's stand for. And he was a lawyer. And Srila Prabhupada knew him. They were somehow in contact. So he was coming to greet Srila Prabhupada at the station for the time the train would stay, and then it would move on. Sometimes a train like that will stay for quite some time in a major city like Delhi before it moves on. So while they were there, Prabhupada and he were speaking, and this man said, "Why don't you leave some of your followers here in Delhi to start your mission?" He said, "I have a place where they can stay. And so from where I am, they'll have a place, and then they can start the mission." And Prabhupada said, "Yes, why not?" So he said to Guru Das, who was one of the devotees with him, "You should get down," we say it in Indian English, "get down from the train, get down here." And a few of the other devotees were chosen to also get down. This was absolutely not planned. So here he is, he's saying, "You just get here and stay here and start a temple." And he gave them 50 rupees. Now, 50 rupees today is not even €1. But in those days, I don't know, maybe it was a few dollars, but it wasn't much. So anyway, the devotees, including Giriraj Das, at that time, they got down at Delhi, and they went to this man's place. And the place was really austere. Cement floors, no beds, no running water. And they were they had to climb a kind of ladder to get to where they would stay. And there were rats. big rats. And so he mentions the first night was kind of a special experience for the brahmacharis lying in their sleeping bags on the cement floor with rats crawling over them during the night. Hare of the Krishna consciousness movement of Srila Prabhupada in Delhi. So anyway, dancing white elephants traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India. All right. Now, speaking of Srila Prabhupada, we have Srila Prabhupada's books. And in one of Srila Prabhupada's books is Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam. You know what I'm getting at here. So I thought we could read one verse from Canto 3. I should have prepared for putting it to share the screen. Well, I suppose I could do that. Let's see. Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13, Appearance of Lord Viraha, and this is verse 34. Okay. And we share the screen. All right. I just kind of took this as a nice meditation. As we know, Swayambhuva Manu has been requested by Lord Brahma to, as the biblical expression is, to be fruitful and multiply, to propagate population. And he says very politely, yes, I love to do it. Where shall I do this? Because the earth had sunk into the ocean, into the, Garbhodaka? Karunadaka ocean. And so I guess Garbhodaka ocean. Lord Brahma is thinking what to do. And while he's thinking, something quite amazing happens. Something, or rather someone, emerges, comes out of his nose. Now, what usually comes out of our nose? If something comes out of our nose, it's not usually something very nice, right? But here it is, the Supreme Lord himself, in the form of a boar, why not, is appearing. A tiny boar, the size of a thumb, who expands. What other form of the Lord expands in the Bhagavatam? Vamana and Matsya, both, yes, very good. Okay, so he's expanding and he's roaring, and everyone is wondering, who is this? But then they understand, this must be the Lord. And so the rishis, the sages, begin to offer prayers. Chitam chitam te jita yajna bhavana traying tanung svang paridunvate nama yat roma garteshu nililur adhayas tasmai nama karana sukarayate. All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas. And in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. Roma garteshu, nililyu, adhaya. For certain reasons, namely to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. Karana-sukaraya. But it is a kind of fun verse because it says, Jitam te ajita yajna-bhavana. Jita, literally conquered, but here it's taken as all glories, glory, like Jaya, Jaya. But it's in the past passive participle form. Jita, or jitam, which means conquered, or victorious. So it's like your victory is already assured. There's no doubt. And namaha, they're offering obeisance. And let's see, yajna bhavana, you are the one who is understood by performances of sacrifice. Now, I was looking at the word bhavana. Let's see if I can find it. Let's move something here. No, yes. Okay, Sanskrit, bhavana. Yes. So he is yajna bhavana, and the word bhavana can mean producer or creator. So the creator of yajna, and that's interesting because the Purusha Sukta suggests that it's the Purusha, the original person, who is the original creator of sacrifice, and also he sacrifices himself. But also bhavana can mean forming in the mind. So one could think of Viraha Deva as he's the embodiment of yajna, but he's also manifesting by his mind, by his conception, by his imagination, or his meditation. So you could think of it as the embodiment of the imagination of yajna, the conceiving of yajna. Prabhupada says, one who is understood by performance of sacrifice. So that's another way to understand. All right. So third canto Bhagavatam, key. All right. On that note, I think we can go to Chaitanya Charitamrita, unless there was a brief question whether Soumya wanted to know, can we see this film? I wouldn't know how to find it. It was one of these 1-minute shorts. If you subscribe to the 1-minute shorts lectures of Srila Prabhupada from Vanipedia, you'll get them on your WhatsApp every day. And then if you click on one of those, sometimes if you scroll down, you'll get something else. There's, I don't know, all kinds of crazy things, these 1-minute shorts. And so this was one of those 1-minute shorts, but I wouldn't know how to find it again. You might, I'm just guessing, but you might try searching for ISKCON Leicester, which is spelled Leicester. It's pronounced Leicester, but it's Leicester, Leicester, Leicester. Okay. Whoops, what am I doing? Okay, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavind Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavind Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Nimai Pandit, has gone to East Bengal. And in East Bengal, he has gained some wealth, and he has returned with that wealth. But when he returns, there has been a tragedy. And the tragedy is that his wife, Lakshmi Priya, has departed the world. And how did she depart the world? By snake bite. What kind of snake? Possibly a literal snake, but it's also referred to as the snake of separation. Gore aila prabhu bahu layadana jano tattagane koila shachir dukkha vimochana. When the Lord returned home, bringing with him great wealth and many followers, he spoke to Shachi Devi about transcendental knowledge, tattva-jnane, to relieve her of the grief she was suffering, shachir dukkha vimochana. She was suffering grief. Why? Because of the departure, the death of Lakshmi Priya. Shishyagana laya puna vidyara vilas vidya bole shabajini audhatya prakash. After coming back from East Bengal, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again began educating others. Vidyara vilas. By the strength of his education, vidya bole, he conquered everyone. Shabajiniya. And thus he was greatly proud. Audhatya prakash. Audhatya. There was manifestation of pride, the pride of learning. This is always the danger of learning. Tabe Vishnupriya Thakuranir Parinoy, Tabe Thakurila Prabhu Digbijayi Joy. Then Lord Chaitanya married Vishnupriya, the goddess of fortune. Thereafter, he conquered a champion of learning named Keshava Kashmiri. So Krishnadas is really, really just giving, in a sense, what he's doing is giving what's called an anukramani. Anukramani is just listing pastimes, just one line or one verse to describe what happens. So again, of course, this is all much more elaborately described in Chaitanya Bhagavad. Oh, this is interesting. In the purport, second paragraph, the Bhakti Ratnakar mentions Keshava Kashmiri and lists his predecessors in the disciplic succession of the Nimbarka Sampradaya. And then Prabhupada gives the whole list of 29 members of this tradition. It is stated in Bhakti Ratnakar that Keshava Kashmiri was a favorite devotee of Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. By her grace, he was an extremely influential scholar. And he was the greatest champion among all the scholars in the four corners of the country. Titled Digvijayi, which means one who has conquered everyone in all directions. He belonged to a very respectable Brahmana family of Kashmir. Later, by the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave up the profession of winning championships and became a great devotee. He joined the Nimbarka Sampradaya, one of the Vaishnava communities of the Vedic culture. So that's interesting. This is, of course, the Gaudiya Vaishnava perspective. I wonder if, and I kind of doubt, that the followers of the Nimbarka Sampradaya would give such credit to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he inspired him to join the Nimbarka Sampradaya. When I was doing my research, the academic research in Vrindavan, 2001, I was spending some time at the Vrindavan Research Institute, which is very close to the Krishna Balaram Mandir. It's a kind of archive library where they have one or two pieces of original handwriting of Srila Rupa Goswami, and sometimes they'll display in their glass cabinets. And I got to know one of the scholars who was in charge there. And he introduced me to another scholar, one lady who had written her doctoral dissertation on Keshava Kashmiri. And she was very happy that I was interested in it. And she got out and she gave for me to look at, written in Hindi language. So my Hindi is, quite minimal, but I was reading and finding it very interesting. And I talked with her and I asked her, so when did Keshava Kashmiri live? What are the dates? And she said, as far as she could understand from her research, he must have lived about 100 years before Lord Chaitanya. So, okay, that's, this kind of research, you never know. I didn't pursue that, like, how did you come to that conclusion or anything? One possible issue is the name Keshava. In this list here, there's another Keshava, just two names earlier from Keshava Kashmiri. Keshava, actually, he was known as Keshava Bhatta, and Kashmiri was like a kind of nickname. He's the Keshava Bhatta who came from Kashmir, Anyway, somehow or other, there's this tradition that Mahaprabhu met Keshava Kashmiri, and they had this discussion, this kind of debate. So whatever the history is, we have in the Gaudiya tradition this understanding that Mahaprabhu met. And we can say Mahaprabhu's pastimes are unlimited, even if it wasn't when Mahaprabhu was in Navadvip as a teenager, somehow there was meeting, just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Mahaprabhu met all the founders of the 4 sampradayas appeared. So Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Vallabha, does he mention Vallabha? He mentions Nimbarka. They all meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu inspires them to be the founders of their missions. Right. Vrindavana dasa iha koryachen bistar sputa nahi kore doshagunera vichar. Vrindavan Das Thakur has previously elaborately described this. That which is clear need not be scrutinized for good qualities and faults. So he's praising Vrindavan Das. He is going to give details about the meeting with Keshava Kashmiri. I believe that's in the next chapter. Vistar means extension, elaboration. Koryachen Vistar. Sputa nahi, sputa. It was clear. Nahi kore dosha guner vichar. There's no need for vichara, for considering, for analysis of dosha and guna of something which is clear. That's an interesting point on the subject of hermeneutics, Vaishnava hermeneutics. Actually, I think I'm going to quote that when I have the next meeting with our editorial review panel for the BBT. She angshaka hitare kari namaskar, jashuni dig vijayi koila apona dikkar. Offering my obeisance to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, I shall try to describe that portion of the Lord's analysis, which, when he heard it, made the Digvijayi feel himself condemned. Yeah, so he's saying, I offer respects to Vrindavan Das Thakur, but I can't resist. I'm going to tell this story. We could, of course, compare to see just what Vrindavan Das says about this incident. And that can be quite interesting to make comparisons because there are differences, the different accounts of the biographies of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, that was 1627. All right, that's pretty much coming to the end of our session for this time. So I want to thank you all for joining. And I want to wish you all a wonderful week. And I want to wish you to keep well and keep sane and keep safe. And I think that's it for now. Unless any of you have an urgent message for everyone else.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, for next Saturday, Sanga.
Oh, next Saturday. Let's have a look. Okay. Yes, next Saturday we're going to have Sanga. Why not? It's going to be a marathon for me because then I have another meeting with South American devotees, but we can manage.
Thank you,
Yes.
Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you all. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, especially to our translators. I always neglect our translators. And thank you all. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavina ki jai, Nitai Go, Premanande.
All glories to Guru Maharaj,
Krishna,
all glories
Guru Maharaj.
to assembled
Guru.
devotees.
Jai Hare Krishna.